Hello everyone, Xeno What If here. Here to bring in the movie of What If Lupin Shimura become Kaiju number 8. Link down description of the fanfiction of this What If. Listen here YouTube. I do not own anything and this is not a scam. Unleash the monster within you. Lupin Shimura, a young man who wasn't even have any type of quirk that he was born with, seen that he was just quirkless to the world. Lupin Shimura have luck on the sight, seen that he met the number one hero All Might, willing for him to become a successor to give him OFA. The two of them were able to train to get his physical strength in order to master OFA. However, it certainly seems that luck by Lupin Shimura wasn't really on his side anymore, seeing that All Might had a bit of a sinister plan sticking that he might have to choose the wrong successor. It was the day of USJ trip for many of Class 1A. Be ready. Lupin Shimura could tell that there was a bit of a different atmosphere in the bus while going to the USJ. Lupin Shimura noticed that Momo, Jiro, Tails, Sonica, Kirishima had a bit of a not assuring kind of look on their face. Lupin could tell something was off a bit. After when the moment the class managed to reach the USJ, that's when a moment the League of Villains strikes. Lupin Shimura was being held hostage by Nomu. Shigaraki. Now you better all stay still or else this kid will actually die. Lupin Shimura looked at his friends of Class 1A, but he could tell that they had shown their true colors. However, he could tell that Momo, Jiro, Tails, Sonica, Kirishima felt this isn't right. Bakugo. Who cares, we don't need him. Shoto. Yeah, he's so useless. Saro. We'll actually need a weekly like him. Mina. Yeah, so you can go ahead and kill them. Lupin Shimura felt his heart within its shattered like glass, but however he had a smile for the people that believed in him. Shigaraki. While they don't really care for him, your own friends turned against you, brother. Shigaraki ordered the Nomu to punch Lupin Shimura was sent directly to the class. However, Bakugo rushes towards and whisper this to him. Bakugo. Look at that, not even your own girlfriend or any of us. And All Might tutorial to actually take away your quirk and for you to die here. Lupin felt nothing but his heart completely shattered. The number one hero lied to and wanted someone else to take his quirk and to be killed here. Bakugo used his explosion in order for him to actually be sent flying somewhere between him and the villains. Lupin saw the one thing that shattered his heart, that Bakugo kissing Ochako. Ochako. I don't know why I dated a loser like you. Lupin Shimura found something within him snap with anger and sadness and rage, so much rage boiling within his core. Lupin's body started to glow aquamarine blue, getting everyone's attention, including those that didn't believe in him were scared that he might actually unlock his quirk. Even the people that believed him saw this and they couldn't help but be happy. Bakugo. What the hell? The way the quirkless bastard had a quick locked inside of him. Just in the light died on and everyone saw this monster. Lupin in his kaiju form, had nothing more but rage within him. Many of the villains and the people that didn't believe in him were even more scared. Bakugo. Would you look at that, the weakling finally unlocked his quirk, I'm still better than him. Lupin in his kaiju form walked towards Bakugo, which made him a bit nervous. Lupin in his kaiju form in front of Bakugo and punched you so hard in the face, knocking his teeth out. Every single people that didn't believe in were horrified that he took one punch that broke Bakugo's face and punched his teeth out. Bakugo's look at the blood and then looked directly at Lupin in his kaiju form, giving the person of bully him all those years, saying that if you ever mess with me again there won't be a next time in your afterlife in a grave. Bakugo felt something within him shattered his pride. Lupin in his kaiju form went towards the villains. Shigaraki ordered the Nomu to kill him. Nomu tried to land a punch Lupin in his kaiju form only for him to grab him by the neck and rip it out. The people that did believe him and the people that didn't believe in him, including the villains, were shocked and horrified. Shigaraki decided to make a bit of a quick retreat and tell the other villains to go ahead and kill him. Lupin in his kaiju form looked at every single one of the other villains with murder intentions. Lupin in his kaiju form rushing to the group in the right side only for him to plow through them, killing and ripping them blood, organs and every gruesome something you can ever imagine, covered some of USJ with the red of blood itself and bodies and corpses. Lupin in his kaiju form looked at the left group of villains that were coming towards him only for him to use the atomic beam, blasting and killing off every one of them villains, leaving nothing but ashes behind. Many of the people who didn't believe in him saw the carnage in front of them and were scared and horrified of the brutality. Bakugo felt like he just fucked up big time and felt like that he just dug his own grave. Lupin in his kaiju form saw one of the last villains crawling away in fear, begging for his life, only for Lupin to rip his body in half. Many of Class 1A do not say a word, seeing that they were too shocked and horrified beyond anything that they can even compliment the words. Lupin transformed back into his human form with a new clothing. Lupin walked up to Aizawa while probably beating up, only for him heal him up. Aizawa looked up, it was surprised and shocked and was disbelief to see Lupin alive and had a new look. Lupin explains to Aizawa that he had unlocked the quirk and he was just a late bloomer. That's when the moment, All Might showed up, and then when the moment he looked around he just saw the brutality of so many of villains, including the Nomu that worked out on the ground. All Might, well, it certainly seems I arrived a bit late. All Might saw Aizawa talking to this unknown person that might have been responsible but didn't realize that it was Lupin. All Might could tell they got rid of that useless successor of his, oh boy that he's not realized that he made the hugest error. All Might decided to walk into the conversation of the two groups. All Might, so I'm guessing that this person must be responsible for killing the villains. Aizawa, yes he is and his name is. Aizawa looked at Lupin, nodded for him to tell him. Aizawa, his name is Lupin Shimura. All Might was completely shocked and disbelief, see that person was actually the useless successor. All Might, aren't you supposed to be dead? Lupin, and aren't you a piece of shit? All Might, how dare you called in the #1 hero a piece of shit? All Might tried to punch Lupin, only for him to grab All Might's punch and threw him into the city block. People that were in shock saw him, he was able punched away the #1 here like a fly. Aizawa, trust me, this kid actually unlocked his work, and trust me, he would actually try to break you down times infinity. All Might got out of the rubble that he was a bit bruised with blood coming out, laughing. All Might, there's no way that weakling could actually kill those heroes. Lupin Shimura transformed into his kaiju form, looking directly at All Might with a lot of murderous attention. All Might, his hearts dropped to see him actually looking at a person that transforms into a kaiju or a monster in front of him. Lupin in his kaiju form, say that again, you lying a piece of shit, and I will have to kill you. Lupin in his kaiju form grabbed All Might by the throat, and started his beat down with the #1 hero. Lupin in his kaiju form punching to chest of All Might, breaking every bone his body, including making his injury even worse. All Might coughing up large amount of blood cells, nothing more but grief for what he has done. Lupin in his kaiju form bitch slept all night, so far slamming him directly into one of a building, knock him out, reverting back into his normal form. Many of the people that didn't believe in him, pro heroes that saw this, were a bit horrified for someone like you to easily take down the #1 hero. Lupin revert back to his human form in a walk to the bus. People that believed in him walked beside him, and the people that didn't believe him besides keep their distance away from him unless they want their bones to be broken so hard. Out with the old, in with the new. After taking down the #1 hero All Might and leaving the USJ, Lupin walked back onto the bus, with those who believed in him following closely behind. As the bus started to head back to UA Academy, the uneasy silence was finally broken by Momo. Momo, Lupin, are you okay? What happened back there? Lupin looked out the window, lost in his thoughts. It was difficult for him to put into words the betrayal he had experienced and the rage that had consumed him. But he knew he couldn't keep it all bottled up inside. Lupin, I trusted All Might. I thought he was the symbol of peace, the hero who would never betray him. I used to look up to that song called Fake Hero, now he always lied to me. With Bakugo uncontrollable, jealous directly at Lupin for actually unlock quirk. Bakugo, jealous, angrier damn bastard, was able to gain a quirk. Lupin didn't really pay attention much to Bakugo's arrogant, boasting academic complete douchebag. Sonica, but still there are people like us that believe. Lupin to Sonica, still I can't forgive people whose side among sided explosive asshole I consider a friend. Amy Rose person had a bit of butterfly feelings in her stomach remembering that's on that he was there before his Quitek manifested, always protecting her from bullies that was picking on her, and now she felt like that she became the bully. Shoto, Iida, Shiro, Denki, Mina, Asui were traumatized after the sheer brutality strength he showed, no mercy. The villains seen it if they try to do anything else to him that he will actually beat them up to death. Sonic in mind, damn it. Damn it. All how could that weakling actually surpassing me, seeing that he could be a late bloomer, but why now of all time so unlock his quirk? The bus made its way to UA University. Every single student of Class 1A got out of the bus, especially Lupin, who ran directly to his dorm. Lupin Shimura looked at the collection of every single merchandise of All Might, making him realize he hates the number 1 clown even more. Lupin in mind, there's no point in actually having the merchandise of your so-called number 1 idol throwing you away like trash, even if it means also backstabbing you in the back. Lupin packing up every single merchandise of All Might and left the room to either destroy it or sell it. Lupin was able to destroy a few merchandise and was able to sell some to make a quick money. Lupin in mind, now it's time to get some new stuff for my dorm. See you next time for a remake. Lupin walked out of the dorms, getting me some new stuff and selling somebody All Might figurines and merchandise to pawn shops to get some money, also destroying the other merchandise. Lupin ran to the shopping area of Japan getting what he needed. Lupin, now then, let's see what I have on the list to buy. Lupin Shimura looked at the list she needed for new stuff for his dorm room, however you didn't notice the group that was All Might, Momo, Sonica, Amy, Sally following him without him noticing. 1. Acer Nitro 17.3 inches 144Hz gaming laptop, Intel C5 to 8GB RAM 512 SSD, NVIDIA RTX 3050 GPU, Black AN5175551DQ. 2. Gundam Base Limited SDRX 783G3 Gundam Cross Silhouette Frame Veer. 3. RCTIC King 3.2 CU featuring 2-door mini fridge with freezer, stainless steel, E-Star, ARM32D5 ASL. 4. PET TF2 Spy Crab. 5. A&W Root Beer Soda 12 PK 12 fluid ounces cans. 6. Lay's Flamin' Hot Dill Pickle Potato Chips 7.75 ounces. 7. Bandai Hobby SDCS Cross Silhouette Mazenkaiser SD Model Kit. Lupin, it certainly seems that's all I'm going to need. As Lupin was absolutely done finishing shopping, he went back to the dorms setting everything for still looks for his dorm room. Lupin built the 2 SD Cross Silhouette Mazenkaiser and RX-783G3 Gundam. He placed them on his desk, admiring their intricate details and design. The Acer Nitro gaming laptop was set up on his desk, ready for him to use for both gaming and schoolwork. The Arctic King mini fridge was placed in the corner of his room, stocked with A&W root beer and Lay's Flamin' Hot Dill Pickle Potato Chips. Finally, the PET TF2 Spy Crab was placed on his bed, a small reminder of his love for video games. Lupin Shimura grabbed one of the can root beer soda, sat on his bed, started to drink the soda, still remembering everything that just happened, people he consider friends that turn out to be assholes that backstabbed him. Lupin in mind, why should I care for what happened to them? After they backstabbed me, including All Might I looked up to as a father figure, but I guess I was wrong, it's nothing more than some scumbag instead of a father figure to me. Lupin Shimura put the can soda on top of a summer desk that is kind of like it, drawers on the top of it, and starts hearing voices in his head. Voice 1, you're right, Lupin. They don't deserve your forgiveness. Voice 2, but don't forget, revenge won't solve anything. It'll only make things worse. Voice 3, you need to focus on yourself and your own goals. Don't let them bring you down. Lupin, you know, I was naive to believe in All Might that I guess he was a corrupted bastard until he forgot that he was quirkless, just like me, until I became a late bloomer that unlocked my quirk, but Lupin Shimura remembers the people who believed in him, such as Tails, Sonica, Sally, Momo, Kirishima. Lupin, and there are those that believed in me for always, true friends, unlike those that hide their true feelings behind their mask of a fake smile, and I will prove myself that I am not the symbol of hope. I'm a symbol of judgment for heroes and villains to fear me, because I'm judge, jury, and executioner for the people who commit sins. Lupin Shimura looked down on his chest as the TF2 Spy Crab that had a cigar, only its cute face showing between the ski mask. Lupin, hey there little guy, like to sleep? Lupin picked up the PET TF2 Spy Crab and placed it on his bed, watching as it scurried around before settling down to sleep. He smiled, feeling a sense of comfort from the small creature. Lupin, I may have lost some friends, but I gained something more valuable. True friends who believe in me and support me no matter what. And now, I have a new companion to keep me company. Lupin Shimura sat down on his bed, feeling content with his new purchases and the realization that he had true friends by his side. He knew that he had a long road ahead of him, but he was ready to face any challenge that came his way. Lupin, I may not be the symbol of hope, but I am the symbol of judgment. And I will do whatever it takes to protect the innocent and punish the guilty. With that thought in mind, Lupin settled down to sleep, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Training and villain attack. Some time passes after the incident in the USJ. Aizawa announces to many of the students for the sports festival to begin sometime. Lupin Shimura was training alone on the beach, perfecting his powers for sheets of limiting it doesn't trust any of his other shithead friends, only the people that believed in him. Lupin Shimura continues to training pushing his body beyond his limits, and still can't forget the betrayed that was actually fueling his power. Lupin in mind, fuck them. All those damn bastards only care for themselves and I won't help them. Lupin Shimura continued training. A portal appeared, many of the League of Villains including All for One himself. Lupin. What the hell? Lupin Shimura got into a fighting sense with his hands turned into kaiju form. AFO had his hands up, not really to fight. AFO, now, young Shimura, I'm not here to fight to keep you in opposition for you to be a part of the League of Villains. Lupin Shimura was taken aback for the leader of the League of Villains to actually want someone like him to actually join their group. Lupin, why the hell do you want me to join your organization? OFA, including about you being betrayed by your own friends, how All Might wanted you dead even though you are a weak successor, and now that you have this power why not get some revenge on him? Lupin Shimura start remembering about events from the USJ including the voices in his head. Voice number 1. You should take his offer. Voice number 2. There are no heroes in this accursed world. Voice number 3. They're only fake hero or they only care for their fame and greed. Voice number 4. They are nothing but a cancer that causes problems. Voice number 5. The world favors idiots that only have power, that only care for themselves. Lupin Shimura was on his knees having a mental breakdown. He felt a lot of emotions even with the voices and said as well. OFA, you see, young Shimura, we understand what it's like to be betrayed and cast aside by society. Lupin Shimura felt uncontrollable rage, however he felt like his normal self but felt like a beast within him awakening. His rage was the beast of a kaiju. Lupin Shimura in his kaiju form in berserk mode, angry killer intention, charges directly at the feelings, made him try to use the quirks on him only for some time to pass by. Lupin Shimura woken up today was blackout, however it felt like something wet was on him. From the moment he opened his eye he saw a sight that made him almost want to throw up. Lupin looked at the carnage of many corpses and villains that were mutilated, some in a gruesome ways. Beach was completely covered in blood, especially the number 1 villain. Lupin. What the fuck? Lupin throwed up all of his lunch correctly on the corpses of the villains. He took a deep breath in and out. Lupin Shimura was going to make his way back only for him to get grabbed by one of the villains, however he almost like his kaiju before, but it almost looked different. His head didn't actually have any eyes but had only for him to be thrown into the city, all reference to Invincible vs Omni-Man. Citizens in some parts of Tokyo wear my own business until a loud crash, however with living thrown away, so many citizens were killed, some running screaming for our lives. Lupin got up from the rebel scene seeing the sight in front of him, and many citizens screaming, even some loved ones that were buried underneath. Buildings started rumbling and cracking, windows shattering. Lupin Shimura grunts with effort, uses powers, and would surprise him that he was trying to hold the building by using telekinesis. Woman. Gretchen. Mommy. Lupin Shimura try the best using his telekinesis powers, how rolling for the building to fall on him with the mother and her child. Lupin kind of debris, however when the moment the only thing he saw was the mother's hand that was this detached from her body. Lupin Shimura looked at the blood hands, see they couldn't save them. Start hyper fence letting and start to cry. Lupin looked up at the somewhat kaiju villain. However, there were 2 of them, one that almost looked like Sonic, felt anger and rage. Lupin. *ragged*, who the fucking hell are you? The first kaiju villain without any eyes revealed its face, none other than Bakugo, the asshole bully. Lupin Shimura felt his heart completely shattered to see the asshole once childhood friend came part of the League of Villains, which made him even more angry and pissed off to see this. The Kaiju Sonic revealed half of his face to be Sonic the Hedgehog pro hero that also sided with the villains. Lupin Shimura with rage charges directly at the two assholes that's turned traitors. Lupin. Raged you fucking traitors. Lupin Shimura in Kaiju form punches directly at Bakugo in his Kaiju farm only to receive a massive 10x explosive attack sending him back into a building causing more destruction killing innocent bystanders. Lupin Shimura struggled to get up from the rubble, feeling the pain of the explosion. He looked up to see Bakugo and Sonic standing over him, smirking. Lupin. Why are you doing this? Bakugo. Why are we doing this down on how you have a powerful quirk? I had no choice making alliance with the League of Villain. Sonic. And I just love chaos and destruction. It's fun to watch the world burn. Lupin Shimura felt a surge of anger and sadness at the same time. He couldn't believe that his former friend and a hero he admired had turned against him and the rest of society. Lupin. You're both monsters. How could you do this to innocent people? Bakugo. Innocent people. They're just collateral damage. We're doing this for the greater good. Lupin. What about that song that you wanted to be heroes, what is that also a lie as well? Sonic. Sometimes you got to whatever it takes me strong even siding with villains, yes. Lupin Shimura looked down felt uncontrollable rage and also tears for me with his eyes unleashing the rage of the beast of the Kaiju. Lupin. *rigged liar. Lupin Shimura charged towards Bakugo and Sonic with all his might, his Kaiju form towering over them. He realized that the power boost that he was receiving was actually from AFO giving him multiple power against the fight. Lupin in his Kaiju form Berserk form the surf mode punches uncontrollable with the ramming assholes into a fuel power plant however only for it one single punch for an explosion to go off taking the both of them into the gulfing in the fire. Out from the rubble came Lupin Shimura half of his face to be burnt beyond recognition. However, thanks to the power of OFA, half of his face started regenerating with skin hair started growing. Lupin Shimura noticed the heavily injured Sonic the asshole traitor crawling his legs completely removed. He grabbed a sledgehammer nearby to crush his skull, ending his life with the blood splatter everywhere and explaining to organs of his head. Lupin looked at Bakugo, who was Emily breeding half of his human face, was burnt, including his arms and legs were missing. Lupin took a deep breath in and out for giving out a rage look at Bakugo. Lupin. *rigged why did you make me do this? You're fighting so you can watch everyone around you die. Think, Bakugo. Bakugo. Coughing I don't know anymore. I just wanted to prove myself, to show that I'm not weak. Lupin raged yeah, I see now that you were the only one that betrayed everything. You betrayed yourself. Trade the code of a hero. You're the only one that betrayed yourself, so don't blame me, blame yourself, can't you know what you're dead to me? Lupin using powers of AFO having the ability to somebody a gun and only for one bang and killed him. Many pro heroes, including cops and medical people, came to the scene to make a disaster. All Might saw destruction, not to mention, overheard that Bakugo sided himself with the League of Villains. All Might approached Lupin Shimura, who was still in his Kaiju form, and placed a hand on his shoulder. All Might. Sighs I'm sorry, Lupin. All Might was grabbed by the neck by Lupin who was choking him with rage. Lupin. *rigged don't you dare fucking apologize to me you pathetic shit of a hero that actually gave your quirk to someone that had villainous intentions about realizing the consequences of your action. All Might try to respond only to receive a punch in the face and then a punch to his weak spot causing him to turn into his skinny form in front of everybody including a news team. All Might looked defeated, ashamed, and guilty. He knew that he had made a mistake by giving his quirk to someone who wasn't ready for it. He had failed as a hero and as a mentor. All Might. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Lupin. Sorry doesn't cut it, All Might. You've destroyed everything that I've worked for. You've destroyed my trust in heroes. You've destroyed my faith in humanity. All Might. I understand. I'll do whatever it takes to make things right. Lupin. It's too late for that, All Might. The damage has been done. There's no going back. Lupin Shimura walked away from the scene, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair, before AFO takes a part of 70% of OFA. Sonica the Hedgehog, who saw all this, including was disappointed, see her brother go down the path of villain. She noticed Lupin slowly walking to the beach with no emotions coming from his eyes. Sonica followed Lupin to the beach, where he stood staring out at the ocean. She approached him cautiously, unsure of how he would react. "Lupin, are you okay?" she asked softly. Lupin turned to face her, his eyes still devoid of emotion. "No, Sonica. I'm not okay. Everything I've worked for, everything I believed in, it's all gone." "Sonica. I know, but..." Lupin raged, "Oh really? Once because of my whole life was just a fucking lie. Everything I worked up to was nothing more but just lie after another. I just all fucking society's nothing but a corrupted world filled with shitheads that would actually get away with anything." Sonica didn't know what to say. She could feel the anger and pain radiating from Lupin, and she knew that there was nothing she could do to fix it. "Lupin, and you know what the worst part is? I trusted them. I trusted the heroes, the government, the system. But they let me down. They let everyone down." "Sonica. I know, Lupin. But we can't give up hope. We have to keep fighting, even if it seems like the world is against us." "Lupin, fighting for what? For a society that doesn't care about us. For a system that's rigged against us. What's the point?" "Sonica, the point is that we have to believe in something. We have to believe that there's still good in the world, even if it's hard to find. We have to believe that we can make a difference, no matter how small." Lupin looked at Sonica, his eyes softening slightly. "Maybe you're right. Maybe there's still hope." Sonica smiled at him, relieved that he was starting to come around. Together, they stood on the beach, watching the waves crash against the shore, and for a moment, they forgot about all the chaos and destruction that surrounded them. The beginning of the sports festival. In the aftermath of the incident with Lupin, Shimura fight against my age of villains, including the #1 villain AFO killing him, including alongside many of the US student, Bakugo and Sonic working alongside the villains. This news spread like wildfire across all of Japan for two students of UA joining the League of Villains, was a complete outrage for people to come heroes just to betray heroes, him to go to the side of villains. At the halls of UA, as Lupin, Shimura was walking to his class until a student punched him in the face, which did not do anything. Random student #1, you bastard, you didn't even try to save. Lupin Shimura had enough to deal with people sappy bullshit trying to blame him for everyone else's shit for him to punch the male student in the face so hard, causing him to fall down with blood coming from his mouth. Lupin Shimura, listen here, you mutt, you could have been there to save your own family. You had powers. It could have helped them, but know that you run away like a damn coward. You said you want to be a hero, but no, you're nothing more but hypocritical bastard. Now get out of my way before I brush your skull in the ground. Until you drop dead. The student scurried away, scared and embarrassed by Lupin's outburst. Lupin continued to his class, where he found Aizawa waiting for him. "Aizawa. Lupin, we need to talk." Lupin sighed and sat down, knowing that he was in for a lecture. "Aizawa. Look, I understand that you're going through a lot right now. But you can't let your anger control you like that. You're a hero, and heroes need to be able to control their emotions." Lupin. "I know, but it's hard when people keep blaming me for everything. I didn't ask for this power, and I didn't ask for Bakugo and Sonic to betray us." Aizawa. "I know, Lupin. But you can't let that define you. You have to rise above it and be the hero that you were meant to be." Lupin. "I'll try, Aizawa. But it's not going to be easy." Aizawa nodded, understanding the struggle that Lupin was going through. As Lupin Shimura and Aizawa entered the classroom of Class 1A, he could tell that someone else was in the seats of where Sonic and Bakugo were at, Hitoshi Shinso from Class 1C and Komiko Moss from Department of Management. Lupin Shimura, to himself, well, what do you know? The two low rank of UA are now in Class 1A. Instead of dealing with those two bastards that betrayed heroes to be replaced by these two, well, that's fine by me. Hitoshi Shinso walked up towards Lupin Shimura, getting everyone's attention. Lupin Shimura, to Hitoshi Shinso, is there still something you need? Hitoshi Shinso, to Lupin Shimura, I'm guessing you're the guy that happened that incident with the villain's attack on the beach, including the whole mess in the city. Which one of those students being former Class 1As turned into villains? Lupin Shimura, to Hitoshi Shinso, like I would ever care for those two. They betrayed heroism itself. They're dead to me. Hitoshi Shinso, to Lupin Shimura, I see. Well, I'm just trying to understand the situation. It's not every day that you see two students from UA turn to the side of villains. Lupin Shimura, to Hitoshi Shinso, yeah, well, you're not the only one. I guess you're lucky you're not in our class before. Hitoshi Shinso, to Lupin Shimura, I'm not here to judge. I just want to learn from your experience and become a better hero. Lupin Shimura, to Hitoshi Shinso, good luck with that. You'll need it. Hitoshi Shinso walked away, feeling a bit uneasy about Lupin's response. Lupin turned to Aizawa, who was watching the interaction with interest. Aizawa, to Lupin Shimura, you don't have to be so harsh with everyone. They're just trying to understand what happened. Lupin Shimura, to Aizawa, I know, but it's hard to trust anyone right now. I can't forget what happened with Bakugo and Sonic. Aizawa sighing, realizing that he has gone through a lot, meaning it is pointless to talk, seeing that it was almost a few days for them to train until the sports festival begin. Sonica the Hedgehog, the Blue Blur, and also the sister of Sonic the Hedgehog could understand that he is going through a lot of pain. Sonica the Hedgehog, sigh, I could tell that he is going to forgive anyone who will turn into a villain. I should know that he's going to the dark path. As few days have begun for training for the sports festival, Lupin Shimura in his Kaiju form continuously training not stop, however, not even realize that he had the power of the number one villain's quirk inside of him. Lupin Shimura in his Kaiju form, I don't need anyone's help. I don't need anyone to get in my way. As Lupin trained, Aizawa watched from a distance, concerned about his emotional state. He knew that Lupin needed time to heal, but he also knew that he needed guidance and support. Aizawa approached Lupin during a break, offering some words of advice. Aizawa, Lupin, I know you're going through a lot right now. But you can't do this alone. You need to rely on your friends and your teammates. Lupin, to Aizawa, I don't need anyone's help. I can handle this on my own. Aizawa, to Lupin, maybe that's true, but you'll burn out eventually. You need to pace yourself and trust in your team. Lupin nodded, knowing that Aizawa was right. He had been pushing himself too hard, and he needed to rely on his friends and teammates more. Sally Acorn, to Lupin, you got this, Lupin. We're here for you. Sonica the Hedgehog, to Lupin, yeah, we're a team. We'll get through this together. Setsuna Tokage, a female student from Class 1B, and her quirk is Lizard Tail Splitter, and was intrigued by Lupin Shimura, the power of Kaiju, that she loves reptilians, and seeing that he could transform into a reptilian monster is something amazing. Setsuna Tokage, my wishes, reptilian primate. The sports festival began, Midnight walking up to the stage wearing your hero costume and also explaining about the first part of the sports festival being the obstacle course. Lupin Shimura, I ain't going to hold back. Midnight wanted Lupin Shimura to say, if you inspire with words to everyone. Lupin Shimura locked up to the stand, taking your deep breaths and giving a strained look. Lupin Shimura, with the microphone, all I have to say is for everyone to do their best and also have fun. This isn't a competition, but for everyone else to do their best. It doesn't matter if you're great or not, for what it really means to be hero is to protect those in need of help. That is all I have to say. Lupin Shimura giving the microphone back to Midnight, and the students were inspired by his words for them to have fun and not to take things too seriously. As the obstacle course of the sports festival began, many of the students used their quirks, Shoto with using his eyes powers to freeze the ground, causing many people to slow down. Lupin Shimura not even realize using one of the powers, Inferno, melting the ice, is giving me this students a chance to actually go on ahead. Lupin Shimura, sorry but I ain't going to be number 0. I'll be number 1. Lupin Shimura transformed into his Kaiju form, surprising many the spectators, realizing that he was the one who dealt with many of the villains on the beach, including the whole incident that happened in the city. Endeavor watching with treatment at the transformation of the Kaiju form, while many of the other pros, however, a certain group Ove military people noticed his Kaiju form known as the Defense Force. The vice captain of the 3rd Division of the Defense Force being Soshiro Hashina would a keen interest, realizing the transformation was Kaiju number 8. Soshiro Hashina, so I'm guessing he must be the one that must have caused quite a bit of a mess yesterday. As Lupin Shimura Kaiju form running with incredible speeds until he saw a group of zero-pointer robots from the entrance exam alongside the other fill-in robots. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. Get the hell out of my way. You use a sunk of scrap iron. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form jumped up in the air and surged with amount of energy from his Kaiju body, jumping up in the air and doing amount of punches enough to damage the 3 zero-pointers, turning them into multiple pieces since that fall into the ground while running off into the distance, making every single other student watch in complete shock. Random Student 1E, that guy has an incredible quirk. Random Student 1D, no kidding, power transform into monster to powerful punches like that, twice as drunk compared to All Might. All Might watching from the private area Aizawa, looking down and seeing how strong he is. Like everyone else, think that he's stronger than makes him realize of the consequence of his own actions. With Lupin Shimura Kaiju form continued, almost finishing with Rice. Jumping with incredible reflexes across each and every single gap while getting to almost the finishing line. However, he could sense that there was a minefield. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. I'm going to go above and beyond my limits. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form was incredible boost, ran past all of the landmines for him to finish the obstacle course, making everyone that was watching us had their jaws dropped in a comedic way for one person to finish it in less than half a second. Lupin Shimura transformed back into his normal self wearing the PE uniform of UA, went to one of the coolers to get a water bottle. Pour water on his face and drinking it cool off his body. Lupin Shimura. To himself, I got to be careful to myself to my limits. Can also overheat myself like a computer would. Of course you are my reptilian specimens. Lupin Shimura looked on his back to see Setsuna Tokage hugging him with her arms and legs tightly. Lupin Shimura. What the fuck are you doing? Setsuna Tokage. Giggling, sorry, I just can't help myself. You're so amazing, Lupin. I've never seen anyone move like that before. Lupin Shimura blushed, feeling a bit uncomfortable with Setsuna's sudden affection. He tried to push her away gently, but she clung to him even tighter. Lupin Shimura. Blushing, thanks, Setsuna. But we need to focus on the sports festival, not each other. Setsuna Tokage. Pouting, fine, but I'm still going to cheer for you. Lupin smiled, grateful for her support. He knew that he needed all the help he could get, especially from his friends and teammates. I am not holding back. After the obstacle course part of the sports festival was over, the next part was sport festival. Midnight explained about the next part of the sports festival, about cavalry battle for students in 4 or 5 to actually be in a team. Everyone else chose their teams for the cavalry battle. Shoto Todoroki with Tenya Ida, Momo Yaoyorozu and Denki Kaminari, Minoru Mineta with Mezzo Shoji and Tsuyu Asui, Eijiro Kirishima, Mina Ishido and Hanta Siro, Hitoshi Shinso with Amy Rose, Yuga Aoyama and Masharao Ojiro, and finale Lupin Shimura teammates are Sally Akron, Sonica the Hedgehog, Sonic's sister, and Setsuna Tokage as his team for the cavalry battle. Lupin Shimura. To his team, okay then show me, what you got. Sally Akron. You know, try not to be so sexist as to me just because we're women. Lupin Shimura. What the fuck, that is not what I was applying, I mean give it to all with your quirks. Sally Akron and Sonica the Hedgehog, Sonic's sister, oh. Lupin Shimura. Okay, seriously, just try to focus. And we didn't get enough points for the next part of the sports festival. Setsuna Tokage. Smiling, don't worry, Lupin. We'll work together and get those points. Lupin nodded, feeling grateful for her support. He knew that he needed all the help he could get, especially from his friends and teammates. As the cavalry battle began, Lupin and his team worked together to capture the flags scattered throughout the field. They used their powers to their fullest extent, creating portals, splitting into multiple lizards, and using Sonica's speed to their advantage. Sally Akron. To Lupin, you're amazing, Lupin. I've never seen anyone move like that before. Lupin blushed, feeling a bit uncomfortable with Sally's sudden affection. He tried to push her away gently, but she clung to him even tighter. Lupin Shimura. Blushing, thanks, Sally. But we need to focus on the sports festival, not each other. Sally Akron. Pouting, fine, but I'm still going to cheer for you. Lupin's team was racking up the most points, getting more headbands from the other team for cavalry battle. Lupin Shimura. To his team, let's keep going. We're almost there. Sonica the Hedgehog, to Lupin, you got this, Lupin. We're a team, we'll get through this together. Setsuna Tokage, cheering, go, Lupin. Lupin smiled, feeling grateful for his friend's support. They worked together to capture the final flag, securing their victory in the cavalry battle. The final event for the sports festival is going to be battle tournament. Everything happened just like in canon, but expect a slight alterations. Number 1 Sonica vs Iida. Number 2 Lupin vs Shinso. Number 3 Momo vs Tokiyami. Number 4 Amy vs Sally. Number 5 Asui vs Ochako. Many of the other fights took place just like in the canon, Lupin explaining to Shinso that his quirk isn't a villain, that he does not the heart. The villain just because of people judge of his quirk. Until it was the final round against Lupin vs Shoto for the final fight. Soshiro Hashina. My certainly seems he really has come this far. Let's see how he pushes the power of his kaiju abilities to its maximum limits. At the battle arena, Lupin Shimura was on the lift side stretching, hearing the bones pop and crack. Shoto at a neutral look, only using his ice side instead of his fire side of his quirk. Lupin Shimura, tch, this guy is not giving his all. He's just using a fragment of his power. Shoto, to Lupin, I'm only going to tell you this. I'm only going to use my ice side instead of using the fire that belongs to bastard of a father. Lupin was confused about why Shoto is not willing to use this fire side, just holding back. Innocent lives will die because of someone who isn't going to give it his all. Could it be some kind of parent problem or some father issues he had? Lupin Shimura, to be honest, if you're not giving your all, then you're a disappointment. Shoto flinched a bit but still had a neutral look on his face. As the battle began for Shoto for launching ice barrage at Lupin, using his kaiju strength to punch him any of the ice barrage like shatter glass. Lupin Shimura, seriously, you're just going to use your ice and not your fire. You really are weak. Shoto, just shut up already. Shoto continued to attack with his ice powers, but Lupin was able to dodge and counterattack with his kaiju strength. He used his portals to confuse Shoto and create openings for his attacks. Sally Akron, to Lupin, you're doing great, Lupin. Keep it up. Sonica the Hedgehog, to Shoto, you can do better than this, Shoto. Give it your all. Setsuna Tokage, cheering, go, Lupin. Lupin smiled, feeling grateful for his friend's support. He knew that he needed to push himself to his limits to win the battle against Shoto. As the battle continued, Lupin used his powers to create a portal beneath Shoto, causing him to fall into a pit of ice. Lupin jumped down and grabbed Shoto, using his kaiju strength to pull him out. Shoto, to Lupin, you're stronger than I thought. Lupin, to Shoto, I'm not holding back anymore. Shoto. He used his powers to create a portal beneath him, launching him into the air. Lupin followed suit, punching him with incredible force. Shoto was knocked out of the ring, losing the battle. Lupin stood victorious, surrounded by his friends and teammates. The sports festival ended with Lupin given a medal of the first place by All Might, even though he had a bit of a personal grudge against him because of what happened at the USJ. With second place medal going to Sally Acorn and the third place medal going to Shoto. All Might, to Lupin, congratulations, Lupin. Lupin, to All Might, don't think I ain't asking for sympathy. You number one ass clown. After all, I'm leaving to celebrate with my friends that cared for me. All Might, to Lupin, I'm sorry. Lupin, to All Might, I'm not asking for sympathy as well. So get out of my way. After all, I haven't give up a personal party with the people I consider friends. As Lupin walked away, he felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. He knew that he had come a long way since the incident with Bakugo and Sonic, and he was determined to continue fighting for justice as Kaiju.8. Lupin and his friends, Tails the Fox, Eijiro Kirishima, Sally Acorn, Sonica the Hedgehog, Sonic's sister, and Setsuna Tokage were going for their own personal private party to celebrate their victory of the sports festival. Internship with the Defense Force. After when the whole sports festival was over and Lupin Shimura was able to be a number one in the sports festival. He got himself a lot of internships. By many heroes, but not just heroes but also military groups such as the Defense Force. At UA, Class 1A. Many of the classmates were given hero internships while Lupin Shimura was able to get the most internships with different heroes and other types of groups. Lupin Shimura looked across the list of many internships until one caught his attention, known as the 3rd Division of the Defense Force. Lupin Shimura. Well, this doesn't seem like a hero agency. More like a military group. Certainly seems my type of thing to do. While everyone else chose their same hero internship just like a canon, however, with a slight alteration to it, not with the same people. Lupin Shimura looked at the internship paper of the 3rd Division of the Defense Force explaining to deal with monsters known as Kaijus. Seeing that he does have the power to turn into a Kaiju, meaning that either if you walked in, he would be good as dead. Midnight came in for everyone else to choose their hero names as in canon. Everyone else did, including Sally and Amy, and Sonica chose their hero names as well. Finally it was Lupin's turn for him to choose a hero name, which she did. He chose the hero name known as the monster hero or Kaiju hero, known as Kaiju No.8. Which many of the classmates of 1A were rather intrigued for him to give himself a hero name known as Kaiju No.8. Lupin Shimura. Damn it. There's no way I would actually go in there if they would just know that I was a Kaiju. But I'm guessing I have a real reason why they invited me. As the day came for the internships, every single one of the students from Class 1A went separately to their own internships. Lupin Shimura taking a military bus that belonged to the 3rd Division of the Defense Force. Lupin Shimura. To himself, I guess I have to go. It's a chance to learn more about my powers and how to control them. Lupin took a deep breath, as the armored bus came directly towards the headquarters of the 3rd Division of the Defense Force. As Lupin stepped off the bus, he was greeted by Soshiro Hashina, the vice captain of the 3rd Division of the Defense Force. Soshiro Hashina. Smiling, welcome, Lupin. We've been expecting you. Lupin nodded, feeling a bit nervous about the situation. He knew that he had to be careful around the military, especially with his Kaiju powers. Soshiro Hashina. To Lupin, don't worry, we know about your abilities. We invited you here to help us with a special project. Lupin raised an eyebrow, curious about what the project entailed. He knew that he had to be careful, but he was also excited to learn more about his powers. Soshiro Hashina. To Lupin, we have a situation with a Kaiju that's been causing havoc in the city. We need your help to capture it. Lupin nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. He knew that he had to use his powers to their fullest extent, but he also had to be careful not to lose control. Soshiro Hashina. To Lupin, but first, we're going to have to give you a bit of a different one of our suits. As Soshiro and Lupin was taken to a laboratory area of the base where they met a female scientist known as Konomi Okonogi, who creates the combat suits to fight against Kaijus. Konomi Okonogi. Smiling, welcome, Lupin. We've been expecting you. Lupin nodded, feeling a bit nervous about the situation. He knew that he had to be careful around the military, especially with his Kaiju powers. Konomi Okonogi. To Lupin, don't worry, we know about your abilities. We invited you here to help us with a special project. Lupin raised an eyebrow, curious about what the project entailed. He knew that he had to be careful, but he was also excited to learn more about his powers. Konomi Okonogi. To Lupin, we have a situation with a Kaiju that's been causing havoc in the city. We need your help to capture it. Lupin nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. He knew that he had to use his powers to their fullest extent, but he also had to be careful not to lose control. Konomi Okonogi. To Lupin, but first, we're going to have to give you a bit of a different one of our suits. As Konomi and Lupin was taken to a laboratory area of the base where they met a male scientist known as David Shield, who creates the combat suits to fight against Kaijus. David Shield. Smiling, welcome, Lupin. We've been expecting you. Lupin nodded, feeling a bit nervous about the situation. He knew that he had to be careful around the military, especially with his Kaiju powers. David Shield. To Lupin, don't worry, we know about your abilities. We invited you here to help us with a special project. I used to spend All Might's sidekick as well since I retired. Lupin Shimura felt his face grimaced when the moment David Shield was actually the sidekick of All Might, which he didn't really like that clown for betraying him. Lupin Shimura. I see it ending. You're pretty talented with the science division type of the Defense Force. David Shield. To Lupin, yes I am, and I could tell you must be the guy that also has the power to turn into a kaiju. Lupin Shimura, yeah, I know. You can say I'm a bit of a late bloomer. David Shield, smirking, that's one way to put it. But we invited you here for a reason, Lupin. We need your help. Lupin Shimura, I understand. But I'm not going to lose control of my powers. David Shield, that's why we're here, Lupin. We're going to help you control your powers and use them for good, not evil. Lupin nodded, feeling a bit nervous about the situation. He knew that he had a long way to go, but he was determined to become a true hero, one who fought for justice and protected the innocent. As Lupin worked with the military, he learned more about his powers and how to control them. He worked with Konomi and David to create a new combat suit that could harness his kaiju abilities. Konomi Okonogi, to Lupin, we're going to make sure that you don't lose control of your powers. Lupin Shimura, to himself, I can't let my power control me. I have to use it for good, not evil. As Lupin continued with his training, he came across many other 3rd Division people. We consider allies instead of friends. Haruichi Izumo, Aoi Kaguragi and Iharu Furuhashi. Lupin Shimura could tell that Iharu Furuhashi was almost an arrogant cocky type of person but always let his ego get the better. As Lupin trained with the 3rd Division of the Defense Force, he formed a rivalry with Iharu Furuhashi. Iharu was confident in his abilities, but Lupin knew that he had to be careful not to let his power control him. Iharu Furuhashi, smirking, you think you can beat me, Lupin? You're just a weakling who can't control his power. Lupin Shimura, to Iharu, we'll see about that. I'm not going to let my power control me. As the days went on, Lupin and Iharu clashed in the training room, using their powers to their fullest extent. Lupin used his portals to confuse Iharu and create openings for his attacks, while Iharu used his speed and strength to his advantage. Soshiro Hashina watched from the sidelines, impressed by Lupin's progress but also concerned about his control over his powers. Soshiro Hashina, to Lupin, you're doing great, Lupin. But you need to be careful not to lose control. However, the alarm was heard across the whole facility of the 3rd Division base. Infinity operators noticed many kaiju attacks happening across Japan, especially the ones that were known as daikajus, which was rare, including flying types like wyverns. Operator number 1. Vice Captain, there has been a large amount of readings of kaijus that came out of nowhere start attacking the city. Operator number 2. Yes, it certainly seems that they just popped out of nowhere. Many heroes try to engage it, however only to fail. Soshiro Hashina, those idiotic pro-heroes don't even realize what they're fry against aren't villains. Send in the 3rd Division as quickly as possible. Lupin Shimura, what about me, sir? Let me come with you. Soshiro Hashina, as much as we want an escort with you guys, but try not to get yourself killed, seeing that those idiotic pros might mistake you for one of the kaijus. Lupin Shimura, of course, those brain-dead idiots don't leave. Very realize that they're fighting against monsters instead of villains. As many of the elites, including members of the defense force, including with Lupin, wearing the combat suit, got into one of the armored trucks driving towards the city of Japan at smoke coming from many parts city, realizing that the kaiju attack has begun. Kaiju attack. In some parts of Japan it was chaos. It wasn't a villain attack. These creatures came out of nowhere, getting everyone off guard. Shuta pro heroes were able to handle villains, but against whatever these things were was something beyond their control. Some of the pro heroes that were cocky or arrogant tried to best against me, overwhelmed or eat for their guts and organs to be splattered all over the place. The wyvern-type kaijus that had the ability to fly into the sky. I was able to kill off many of the pro heroes that had the ability to fly, causing them to turn into ashes. Many police officers, including the army, were able to evacuate civilians as quickly as possible. Ask many of the defense force of the 3rd Division had their weapons firing against many of the kaijus, killing off, while also letting many the evacuation civilians going to some of the safe shelters in some parts of the city. Lupin Shimura saw the chaos of the city and how it is now. See that these idiotic heroes have no idea how to deal with this kind of situation. Lupin Shimura, what a bunch of useless idiots. Lupin Shimura transforms into this kaiju form and starts punching every single kaiju should have come near, with one punch killing him in the process. Lupin Shimura transformed into his kaiju form, ready to fight. He used his portals to confuse the kaiju and create openings for his attacks. The team worked together, using their powers to their fullest extent. Lupin, to the kaiju, "You're not going to get away with this." The kaiju roared, charging towards Lupin with incredible force. Lupin used his kaiju strength to punch the kaiju, knocking it back. The team continued to attack, using their powers to weaken the kaiju. Iharu Furuhashi, to Lupin, "You're doing great, Lupin." Lupin smiled, feeling grateful for his team's support. He knew that he couldn't have done it without them. As the battle continued, Lupin used his portals to confuse the kaiju, creating openings for his team's attacks. They worked together, using their powers to weaken the kaiju until it was finally captured. Soshiro Hashina, to Lupin, "Good job, Lupin. You did it." Soshiro Hashina using his kaiju-like blades killing off many of the kaijus, including also protecting when it is civilians, while Lupin Shimura kaiju form was able to help Simpsons affiliates who were trapped underneath the debris. Sure, they were afraid of him, but then they realized he had a quirk, like some kind of mutation quirk of transformation. As many civilians were taken to safe shelters of the area. Many pro-heroes think that they're arrogant enough to actually deal with this situation with the kaijus. Lupin Shimura. Those brain-dead idiotic heroes don't even realize that they're dealing with kaijus and not villains. Arrogant pro-hero number 1. Have no fiercer citizens and other people. We got this. Arrogant pro-hero number 3. We'll take care of these. Abomination. As the arrogant heroes tried their best against the kaiju, and only took a few seconds for 3 of them to be dead while the other arrogant pro-hero ran away like bitch. Lupin Shimura kaiju form. All talk, but no fighting. Lupin Shimura. To the pro-heroes, "You idiots don't even realize what you're fighting against, do you?" The pro-heroes looked at each other, realizing that they were out of their depth. Lupin Shimura continued to fight against the kaiju, protecting civilians and taking down the monsters with his kaiju form. His team worked together to defeat the kaiju and prevent further destruction in the city. Many of the Class 1A that were still alive in the moment the kaiju attack has begun. Iida, Tails, Shinso, Amy, Sally Zero, Shoto, Jiro, Kirishima, Denki, Momo and Mina. However, for the other of Class 1A were dead since during the kaiju's attack, such as Masharao Ojiro, Minoru Mineta, Ochako Uraraka, Suyu Asui and Yuga Aoyama. Iida, my god. Amy, the whole city's in chaos. Denki, I thought being here will be fine against villains, but fight against these monstrosities is beyond the hero's level. Zero, not to mention half of the pro-heroes were even killed by these monsters. Shoto, it certainly seems that we don't stand a chance against these things. Iida, Tails, Shinso, Amy, Sally Zero, Shoto, Jiro, Kirishima, Denki, Momo and Mina seeing Lupin Shimura kaiju form alongside the defense force fight against many of the kaijus that were invading the city of Japan, while also making sure every single one of the civilians were evacuated to a safe shelter. Iida, I feel like such a useless idiot not even doing anything. I really am a coward. Tails, then we'll have to do our best to protect the civilians. As Iida, Tails, Shinso, Amy, Sally Zero, Shoto, Jiro, Kirishima, Denki, Momo and Mina came up with a strategy to save minutes and civilians from the kaiju attack. More and more kaijus came out of nowhere, even from the sewer and from the oceans of the beach shores from Japan. Many of Japan's military army with tanks and heavy artillery firing across many of the kaijus were able to hit a few of them, while many military army soldiers were killed, ripped apart, eaten with blood and guts splattered all over the place. Including a news reports about this was spreaded like wildfire across other countries. Saw this as well, that Japan was not being attacked by villains but attacked by these monsters known as kaijus. Many heroes from different countries watching this outbreak of kaijus, realizing that they're no longer in the fight against villains but these monstrosities. Back Japan, things were not looking good for the city. Many people started stealing stuff and also scavenging for supplies to survive this hell that was unleashed. Lupin Shimura kaiju form brutally kicked a spider-like kaiju while also jumping on the roof, kicking another one spider kaiju into the ground, causing it to splat like a big Lupin Shimura. There's no end to these things. Even if we kill more of them, a lot more will take its place. This isn't fighting felons or like fight against ungodly monsters. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form looked down on top of this building that he was standing on top of. Could see Japan how it once was beautiful. Now in ruins in the chaos of the kaijus attacking the city he could hear many of the calls for help, including the cries from babies and children. He could tell that this was more like a wars, a bloodshed of never-ending destruction caused by these creatures instead of villains. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. Even if I could give him my all, it's still not enough. Question mark question mark question mark. In Lupin's mind, and you must go above and beyond and to unleash the true potential of your power. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. What the who said that? Question mark question mark question mark. In Lupin's mind, I am a subconscious for you to unlock. Your full potential of your power is to hurry up and help those in need. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. I didn't know what to say. Unleashed 99% of his power, jumping down from the building and rushing towards many of the kaiju that were in his way, punching right to the way every single one of the kaijus with blood splattering all over the place, including organs from many of the kaijus, realizing this was the battle of Japan of a lifetime, to save its city, to save everyone, to save the country itself. Battle of Japan. When people would thought that the pros would actually defend Japan from any kind of threat. How wrong that the people of Japan were, that a threatened bigger than compared to the villain attack was just measly nothing compared to a full-on kaiju attack. Many of the buildings alongside the streets filled with destroyed cars, rotted corpses of many heroes and villains, including civilians. There were also a few kaijus that were dead on the ground since during the battle. Many civilians fear that this was the darkest time for all heroes, saying that this was some battle that not even heroes couldn't win against, monsters like these couldn't. Many armies tried their best against these monsters, known as kaijus, especially the wyvern types that had the ability to shoot plasma energy out of their mouths, destroying many air and land vehicles, especially heroes, into ashes. Lupin Shimura Kaiju from trying his best using 99% of his power against kaiju as the whole fight became like a bloodbath. Lupin Shimura Kaiju from, I cannot give up, not now. As many of the 3rd Defense Force soldiers continued firing while some lost their lives. At the Hero Safety Commission building it was chaos. Councilwomen of this Hero Public Safety Commission was already killed by Kaiju number 9 alongside Kaiju number took down many of the security guards as if there were nothing. Kaiju number 9. My, it is really pathetic to see that people put their trust in these heroes. Kaiju number 10. Yes, without them the heroes that the people believe in will shatter into despair. Kaiju number 9. The world will see what will happen when its number 1 hero falls to the ground and everyone that believed him will see his failure as a number 1 hero. Back with Lupin Shimura Kaiju from trying his best using 99% of his power against even more and more upcoming kaijus that were stronger than the others. Lupin Shimura Kaiju from, I'm not going to let this city fall. I'm not going to run away like a coward. In another part of the city, All Might was trying his best using many of his classic maneuver punches such as Detroit Smash against the kaiju. However, some of the kaiju's skin were actually tough like iron. All Might, I really am becoming weak. All Might saw many of the soldiers of the 3rd Division of the Defense Force taking down many of the kaijus with weapons of their own and using quirks that weren't that strong. All Might, I really am wrong. Kaiju number 10. Why yes, you are number 1 clown. All Might turned around, not even reacting. Kaiju number 10 to receive a punch through his heart to be ripped from his chest in a brutal way, for the number 1 hero to collapse on the ground dead by the hands of a kaiju. Kaiju number 10. How pathetic. I was expecting a strong opponent, even heroes fall to the ground. As Kaiju number 10 crushed the heart of the number 1 hero, leaving him to rot. Many of the pro heroes who were in the area saw All Might died by the hands of Kaiju number 10. The combined powers charge directly at Kaiju number 10 thinks that these pathetic human with powers think that he has the ability to regenerate, however he was wrong thanks to the power that they have with strong quirks. He was good as dead. Many of the pro years that looked down on All Might's dead core, felt like to have lost hope and peace. Back with Lupin Shimura Kaiju form continued plowing through every single kaiju that was weak to strong, using 99% of his power now to 200% of his power beyond his limits. Almost it was 10,001 kaijus that were around the city of Japan, and now it decreased to $290 kaijus that are still remaining. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. I can win-win. I still got the power within me. As Lupin Shimura Kaiju form a powerful punch that obliterate every single kaiju including buildings, leaving nothing more but the destruction site. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form was on his knees panting heavenly, realizing that using 200% of his powers beyond his limits was taking a toll on it. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. Damn, as I never thought I'd get this tired from using my powers. I'd get this tired from using my powers, beyond its limits. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form walked up to a vending machine that was destroyed. Grabbed a Sprite and drank it just to charge energy from being dehydrated. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. Now that's the stuff I need. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form look up in the to see multiple jets and helicopters taking down many of the wyvern types, including many heroes that had powerful quirks were able to kill off the wyvern type kaiju. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. Well, looks like things are finally about to be a rant from here on those. As transformed back to his normal self. Still wearing the combat suit he was giving thanks to the defense force. Lupin Shimura. I think things are about to be finally over, but the city itself is going to need a lot of rebuilding. Kaiju number 9, so you must be number 8 or Kaiju number 8. Lupin turned around unable to react when the movie felt some invisible bullet pierced through his chest. But thanks to the Kaiju DNA he had within his body, he was able to regenerate. Lupin Shimura. What the another one? Kaiju number 9. You didn't expect me to be part of the equation, did you? Lupin Shimura. So you're not a normal kaiju, you have the ability to talk and think. Kaiju number 9. That is correct. You can say I am a daikaijus, one that is pretty superior. Lupin transformed into his kaiju form, taking on Kaiju number 9, realizing that this is going to be some easy opponent compared to all the other kaiju that act like mindless beast. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form fought against Kaiju number 9, using his powers to their fullest extent. He knew that he had to be careful not to lose control, but he was determined to defeat the Daikaija. Kaiju number 9. You're not going to defeat me that easily, Kaiju 8. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. We'll see about that. As the battle continued, Lupin and Kaiju number 9 clashed with incredible force. They used their powers to weaken each other, creating explosions and destruction. Many of the military and pro-heroes watched from a distance, using their weapons and quirks to support Lupin. They worked together, using their powers to defeat the Daikaija. That's when the moment Sonica came in and transformed into her super form. Super Sonica. Well, now it certainly seems that you're in a pickle dealing with this guy. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. It took you long enough to get here. Super Sonica. Oh, you know I had to help civilians as quickly as possible, but let's take down this guy. Kaiju number 9. Even with 2 measly insects are no match against me. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. Don't underestimate the both of us. Playing Sonic Frontiers, I'm with you. Super Sonica and Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. Kaiju number 9 using his invisible projectiles directly at only for 2 and to move with incredible speed using their powers at 100%. Super Sonica and Lupin Shimura Kaiju form continued to fight against Kaiju number 9, using their powers to weaken him. They worked together, creating openings for their attacks and supporting each other. Kaiju number 9. You're not going to defeat me that easily, Kaiju 8 and Sonica. Super Sonica. Try not to get yourself too cocky. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. Or underestimate your opponents. That what happens when you lose in the game of chess. As the battle raged on, Lupin Shimura Kaiju form and Super Sonica continued to push Kaiju number 9 to his limits. They used their powers in tandem, combining their strengths to create devastating attacks that left the Daikaija reeling. Kaiju number 9. This is not the end of me. I will rise again and destroy this pathetic city. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form. Not if we have anything to say about it. Super Sonica. You're not getting away that easily. The two heroes fought with renewed determination, their powers shining brighter than ever before. They worked together flawlessly, anticipating each other's moves and coordinating their attacks to strike at the perfect moment. As the battle reached its peak, Lupin Shimura Kaiju form and Super Sonica unleashed a devastating combination attack that left Kaiju number 9 dazed and vulnerable. In that moment, Lupin transformed back into his human form and delivered the final blow, shattering Kaiju number 9's defenses and ending the fight. With Kaiju number 9 defeated, the city of Japan breathed a sigh of relief. Lupin Shimura, now fully recovered, stood tall alongside Super Sonica, proud of their victory and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the sun rose over the city, the people of Japan began the long process of rebuilding and healing. Lupin Shimura Kaiju form and Super Sonica were hailed as heroes, their actions inspiring hope and resilience in the face of adversity. Aftermath. In the aftermath of the whole incident of the Kaiju attack of Japan, many pro-heroes who dealt with the encounter of the Kaijus decided to retire, saying that they weren't prepared to fight against monsters. As many of the citizens were rather angry at many of the pro-heroes quitting just like that. And the death of Madam President and many members of the Hero Public Safety Commission were killed by many of the Kaijus. And the death of the number 1 hero All Might is even more depressed. However, many people are actually happy for the Defense Force and Lupin Shimura Kaiju No.8 protecting them from the Kaiju to attack. As several months pass by, a memorial was held for many people that were dead since during the Kaiju attack. Isao Shinomiya, the Chief Commission of Section 9 of Japan, stepped off the stage giving a speech. Isao Shinomiya, I know all of you are aware about the situation happened, since during the Kaiju incident. And many good citizens and pro-heroes were dead because of this tragedy. But we must look forward to the future. You think pro-heroes are always invincible. But look at this tragedy that happened today. Isao Shinomiya paused for a moment, allowing the weight of his words to settle over the crowd gathered in the makeshift memorial that had been erected in honor of those lost during the Kaiju attacks. The atmosphere was heavy with grief, but beneath that sorrow lay a simmering resilience among the citizens of Japan who had witnessed the horrors of devastation and the courage of those who fought to protect them. Isao Shinomiya, today, we remember not only those who have fallen but also the lessons that we must learn from this tragedy. We have placed our faith in pro-heroes, believing them to be invincible protectors. However, we now understand that they are just as human as we are, capable of suffering and defeat. The murmurs in the crowd echoed the sentiment, voices blending together in a chorus of anger and confusion. Citizens felt betrayed by some heroes who had turned their backs in the face of danger, leaving them to fend for themselves against the Kaiju threat. Yet, standing alongside him was a figure who represented a different kind of hope. Lupin Shimura alongside Sally Acorn, Miles Tails Powers, Eijiro Kirishima, Sonica the Hedgehog, Sonic's sister, and Setsuna Tokage were standing next to him wearing suits to honor the dead. Isao Shinomiya, listen up. We have to learn from our mistakes and by the tragedy that happened. Seen at the Hero Safety Commission has been destroyed. That it's time for us to rebuild. To create a new era for people inside their own choice in life, not by force but by their own free will. Isao Shinomiya's impassioned words rang out into the heavy air, and silence fell upon the crowd once more. The gathering, initially shrouded in sorrow, began to shift as hope and determination flickered to life in the hearts of the people. The past weeks had been filled with turmoil and loss, yet here, in this moment, they were being called to rise from the ashes. Isao Shinomiya, we must lead by example to create a world where strength is defined by compassion and cooperation, where neither those with quirks nor those without are marginalized. This is our opportunity to reshape the narrative, one that embraces every citizen, regardless of their abilities. As the Chief Commissioner spoke, Lupin Shimura, now Kaiju number 8, felt the weight of responsibility settle onto his shoulders. He glanced at his companions, each embodying a piece of the strength required to forge a new path. Sally Acorn stood resolute, her resolve evident. Miles Tails Prower carried his trademark optimistic energy, ready to assist in any way possible. Eijiro Kirishima exuded raw enthusiasm and passion, while Sonica and Setsuna radiated an unmistakable aura of determination. Lupin Shimura, we stand here not just to mourn the dead but to honor them with action. The fall of many heroes has shown us all the cracks in our society. We need to be the ones to fill those gaps, to ensure that our world does not forget the sacrifices that led us here. The crowd murmured in agreement, their spirits lifting as they began to visualize what a united future could hold. Sally Acorn, our fight doesn't end here. We need to organize ourselves, establish community watch groups, train together, and support our fellow citizens. All of us can contribute in our own way. Each person's strength matters. Miles Tails Prower And with the right support, we can harness each individual talent and quirk. Imagine a community where everyone knows how to respond to emergencies and can step up to support each other. Together, we can become our own heroes. As Lupin listened to his friends, he realized they were feeding off each other's energy, creating a synergy that could inspire the entire assembly. Eijiro Kirishima, let's be the kind of heroes that don't just wait for danger to strike. Let's actively protect each other and take a stand. If we work together, we will not fall like those before us. The crowd erupted into applause, a wave of fervor sweeping through them. People began to raise their fists in solidarity, a gesture of unyielding strength and determination to face whatever lay ahead. Setsuna Tokage, we won't just rebuild, we'll innovate. We'll create our own teams to address specific threats and build a network of hope. This is our home, and we will protect it with everything we have. Sonica the Hedgehog, and we will take care of each other. Those who can, step up for those who can't. That's how we redefine what it means to be a hero in today's world. As the energy in the crowd surged, Isao Shinomiya smiled, feeling the shift in the atmosphere. For every voice that had cried out in despair, there were now countless voices rising in hope, ready to chart a new course. Isao Shinomiya, let this be a proclamation, one of resilience, honor, and unity. We are more than just survivors, we are visionaries of a new age. Let us take the lessons of today and transform them into actions that will resonate for generations to come. With that declaration, the memorial transitioned into a rallying point for change. Citizens began discussing their plans, forming groups, and brainstorming ideas for community initiatives. And sometime later passed. Thanks to Miles Tails' power was able to create many construction drones to help out with damaged buildings, about 100 of them to rebuild many destroying buildings to make things a lot easier. As for Lupin Shimura was at his house staying with Grandma and Grandpa Mako Magi and Chizuo Magi, and he was in his bedroom. Lupin Shimura, to himself, it seems that things have been moving so quickly. Lupin Shimura sat on the edge of his bed, the weight of the past few months pressing upon him. The echo of Isao Shinomiya's words still reverberated in his mind, encouraging the citizens of Japan to rise together, to rebuild not just their shattered homes but also their spirits. Outside, the sounds of construction filled the air, an orchestra of hammers, drills, and the whirring of Tails' drones working tirelessly to restore the city. Lupin, to himself, it seems that things have been moving so quickly. He gazed around his room, taking in the familiar sights, posters of heroes who inspired him, books filled with tales of valor and sacrifice. He felt a mix of pride and uncertainty wash over him. His transformation from Phantom to Kaiju No.8 had not just changed his appearance, it had altered his reality. He was no longer just a teenager, he was now a beacon of hope, however daunting that responsibility felt. Lupin sighs, but can I really live up to everyone's expectations? Can I be the hero they need? His thoughts were interrupted by a soft knock at his door, followed by the gentle voice of his grandmother, Chizuo. Chizuo, Lupin, it seems your girlfriends are here to see you. Lupin Shimura was completely confused. What girlfriends wanted to do this name until he realized. Lupin, to himself, of course it has to be Sally Acorn, Sonica the Hedgehog, Sonic's sister, and Setsuna Tokage had to come here. Then again he was a bit stressed out. He did need a little bit of stress relief. Maybe my girlfriends can keep me a bit of a stress relief. As Lupin Shimura walks downstairs to the second floor. When he got down to the second floor, and he was shocked and surprised not by his girlfriends but by the former ex-girlfriend known as Amy Rose, the pink hedgehog who was in love with him before cheated on him with Sonic the Hedgehog. Lupin Shimura felt a mix of anxiety and surprise as he descended the stairs, preparing to greet what he hoped was a brief reprieve from the weight of his responsibilities. However, the moment he stepped into the living room, the sight of his ex-girlfriend, Amy Rose, sent a jolt of hesitation through him. Amy stood in the center of the room, her vibrant pink fur gleaming in the light, and despite her warm smile, Lupin couldn't shake the memories of their past. The hurt, the betrayal, the conflicts caused by her relationship with Sonic. The unexpected twist left him momentarily speechless. Lupin, thoughts racing, what is she doing here? I thought I'd never have to see her again after everything. His thoughts were interrupted as Sally Acorn, Sonika, and Setsuna stepped into the room behind him, their expressions a mix of surprise and concern. They noticed Lupin's visible discomfort and exchanged glances. Sally Acorn. Lupin, are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Lupin, shaking off his surprise, yeah, I'm fine. Just a bit surprised to see Amy here. The atmosphere thickened as he spoke her name, and Amy stepped forward, her eyes brightening with an eagerness that contrasted sharply with Lupin's uncertainty. Amy rose. Lupin, I wanted to talk to you. I know it's been a while, and I wanted to apologize for everything that happened between us. Lupin felt a mix of emotions swirling inside him. The betrayal from Amy still stung, but he also recognized that they had both grown since their tumultuous past. Lupin, keeping his voice steady, apologizing won't change what happened, Amy. You chose Sonic after everything we shared. It hurt more than I can say. The room fell silent, each of his girlfriends shifting their expressions in response to the tension that crackled in the air. Setsuna Tokage, stepping forward, maybe we can all talk things out. It's important to find some closure, don't you think? We've all dealt with loss and pain recently. Sonika nodded, her supportive nature shining through. Sonika the Hedgehog, we're here for you, Lupin. No matter how complicated things may seem, we can support each other through this. Amy opened her mouth as if to respond but hesitated, glancing between Lupin and the three girls at his side. Realizing she had a tough crowd, she took a deep breath, preparing to lay everything bare. Amy rose. Lupin, I messed up. I was caught up in my feelings and didn't think about how my choices impacted you. I never meant to hurt you. Seeing you now, as Kaiju number 8, makes me realize how strong and brave you've become. I respect you for fighting against the odds and protecting everyone. Lupin could see sincerity in her eyes. While the feelings of betrayal lingered, perhaps this was the moment to find closure. Lupin, it doesn't change the past or the pain that came with it, but I appreciate your honesty. We're all trying to rebuild, and holding onto grudges won't help anyone. The tension in the room began to thaw, the atmosphere softened by Lupin's willingness to acknowledge the hurt but also seek healing. Sally Acorn, let's focus on moving forward then. We're all in this together, and we have a lot of work ahead of us. We need to stand united, especially after the loss we've all faced. As they all nodded in agreement, Lupin felt a tiny bit of the weight he'd been carrying. Perhaps this was the turning point they all needed. Hugging his girlfriends tight, he felt supported and empowered. Setsuna Tokage, and who knows? Maybe collaboration will lead us somewhere unexpected. After all, we're all stronger together, right? Lupin, yeah I know. How about coming to my bedroom to give me a bit of stress relief? Sonika the Hedgehog, teasingly, what kind of stress relief, dear? Lupin, just got on the bed and got laid. Sally Acorn, oh you classic gentleman you. Lupin's cheeks turned a shade of crimson as his playful remark left the room abuzz with laughter. The atmosphere shifted from tension to lightheartedness, and for a moment, he felt the weight of his responsibilities lift. The teasing tone from Sonika only added to the playful banter, diffusing the awkwardness that had filled the room just moments prior. Amy rose, smirking, well, if that's your idea of stress relief, count me out. I'd rather not mix my workouts with that kind of activity. Everyone chuckled softly, and Lupin scratched the back of his head, a sheepish smile plastered on his face. Lupin, okay, I was just joking. But seriously, a little camaraderie might help more than a pillow fight. Sally Acorn, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We're here to train and support each other, remember. But some friendly competition could definitely be on the docket for later. The group settled into a more serious discussion about their plans while teasing and joking in between. Those moments of laughter acted like a bomb, helping to forge stronger bonds among them. The initial discomfort from Amy's presence faded as they focused on their shared objectives. Miles, Tails, Prower, how about we set up a training regimen? We can split into teams for physical training, strategizing, and maybe even some sparring matches. It would be a great way for us to strengthen our teamwork. Setsuna Tokage, I like that idea. It'll help everyone learn from each other's strengths. Each of us has different abilities, and we can find a way to synergize them. As the group nodded in agreement, Lupin felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was no longer just a lone hero, he was part of a community, a team. Lupin. Alright, let's get to it. The training we do now is going to make a real difference when the next challenge comes. And who knows? If we put our all into this, we might find our own unique way of doing things. They spread out, finding designated spots in the training area. The air buzzed with energy, and each member took to their chosen activity. Amy joined Tails, eager to help with the drones, while Sally partnered with Ajiro to focus on their agility exercises. Lupin and Sonica decided to work on their combat skills together. Sonica's quick reflexes paired with Lupin's strength created a dynamic training duo. Sonica the Hedgehog. Let's spar a little. I'll test your defenses and you can try to land that powerful punch you've been practicing. Lupin nodded, falling into a fighting stance as Sonica dashed toward him with incredible speed. The sparring match began with playful jabs, showcasing both combat prowess and the bond they had developed over time. In the midst of their playful fighting, laughter filled the air, their spirits high and driven. As time passed, the evening light cast shadows across the training area, signaling that they had been at it for hours. Lupin, soaked with sweat but feeling invigorated, gathered everyone again. Lupin. Alright, team. Awesome work today. I think we made huge progress. Ajiro Kirishima. Yeah, we've definitely built up some skills. It's amazing what we can do together. Sally Acorn. And we've still got more to learn. Training but also learning each other's abilities better will help us in our future missions. Lupin glanced at Amy, who seemed to be engaging with the rest of the group easily now. Despite the past differences and conflicts, she was blending in as a valued part of the team, and it made him hopeful. Lupin. Let's keep this going. We have to stay focused on our goals for our community and for ourselves. Who's in for more training tomorrow? The affirmative cheers and laughter that resounded from the group reaffirmed that they were indeed allies. Epilogue. Many years passed by. As a new era was created known as a new system seen as a Hero Safety Commission and was gone. Now that the Defense Force was willing to take matters into their own hands when an incredible advanced tech to take on rather would-be villains or kaijus. As for Lupin, Shimura was giving the rank Lieutenant of the Defense Force, giving him a new job and a new purpose in life. As there were remaining kaiju forces some parts of the world which the Defense Force alongside many other military groups are willing to cooperate in joint missions. 25 years have passed. A new future, even though that no more heroes were happening. Some people did become heroes while others came part of the Defense Force and military forces willing to help people fight off against terrorist groups and kaijus. Lupin Shimura was able to get even more of a promotion of becoming a chief commander of his own platoon while also decided to take day off. A day off for him to spend time with his girlfriends Sally Acorn, Sonica the Hedgehog, Sonic's sister Setsuna Tokage and Amy Rose. 6 years have passed by. Lupin Shimura gotten married to Sally Acorn, Sonica the Hedgehog, Sonic's sister Setsuna Tokage and Amy Rose, which many people were able to celebrate the marriage. As Lupin Shimura having kids by the names of Kafka Shimura, a spirited boy who inherited his father's dormant kaiju quirk. He dreams of being a hero and often gets into mischief with his sibling. Sakura Shimura, a clever girl with a knack for inventing gadgets to help her father in his duties, she aspires to blend science and heroism. Riku Shimura, the youngest in the family, Riku shows a sensitive and empathetic side, often understanding and helping those around him, including kids with quirks. Amy Shimura, a fierce girl with a love for sports and team challenges, Amy inherits a blend of her mother's abilities, showcasing both agility and strength. Kira Shimura, quiet and introspective, Kira possesses an incredible ability to sense emotions, making her a peaceful mediator among her siblings. On a beautiful summer day, the Shimura family organized a grand picnic in the park, a chance for them all to celebrate Lupin's achievements and spend quality time together. As they set up the picnic space, the laughter of children echoed, harmonizing with the sounds of nature. Sally Acorn, setting out the food. Lupin, can you help with the blanket? We need to make sure we have enough space for all our treats. Lupin, grinning, of course. Can't let the snacks go to waste. Their children raced around, already playing tag and competing to climb trees, filled with the energy and joy that only youth can bring. Lupin observed them, warmth flooding his heart as he felt the tides of happiness swell around him. Sitting down together, the family shared their meals, delicious homemade treats, stories of their adventures, and dreams for the future. Each child, brimming with excitement, showcased their talents and aspirations, feeling rooted in the support and love of their parents. Kafka: I want to be strong like you, Dad. One day I'll be a hero. Sakura: and I'll invent something that'll make sure everyone is safe. Amy: let's have a competition to see who can be the fastest at the obstacle course next time. As they delved into playful conversations, the essence of solidarity and unity engulfed the picnic. It became clear that their family was not just tied by love but also by a shared commitment to make the world a better place. As dusk fell and the sky turned a deep shade of blue, Lupin watched his children embrace their individuality while being fiercely supportive of one another. The bonds strengthened not just through shared blood but through the love and sacrifices made for each other. Lupin stood, gazing at the horizon, cherishing the path they had walked together and the unstoppable force they had become as a family. He reflected on the sacrifices made in the past and the resilience they had shown, not only to protect each other but to ensure a better future for their children. Lupin, to himself, smiling, this is what it means to protect honor. This is what makes us heroes. With unity, love, and strength guiding them, the Shimura family looked towards the future. And this is the end of the movie of this What If. I hope you guys like it. Don't really leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel.